Foremost, I want to give our praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashim, Yahushua, Bashim, Rakakadosh. I give double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone who will and teach us sound doctrine and peace and blessings to the elect. I just have an article here. As you can see, it says fresh UK prison, so like a fresh UK prisons crisis as riots lead to fears of overcrowding. No, just to paint a picture, basically what's going on over here is, well, I wouldn't really, well, you could argue a change of power, but I would really say that there was a situation that happened in was it Southport? I believe it was Southport where some people basically got unfortunately hurt, as you would say, and you know what you know what it is, order or chaos. So what basically you're seeing a whole bunch of Edomites true color. Jake will say, oh, Jake bought into the type that they were basically saying. And you have these riots going on where you have as usual you have left wing and you have right wing. So the right wing, they're on the side of basically they want all the quote unquote immigrants to come out of their country. No, they see it as a fact of being, Asian, etc., etc. But we know what it really is. They really just want Jake. You really want Jake out here. But Esau is so. I don't. What's the word for Esau? We can use so many words for Esau. Esau is so Esau is so uncivilized that Esau really wants to be by himself. Esau don't even want some of his own people over here. Never mind. Esau is just so unjust. And when when you have an unjust people, when you have an unjust leader, what happens? As the scripture says, when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. When the righteous beareth rule, people rejoice. That's why the whole world will rejoice when the Israelites, starting with the elect, are put back in power by Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. But anyway, you get these riots are straight out of a movie. That's why I said 2 years ago or 3 years ago, nobody may have believed that something like that could happen in our next Western country aside from America, because you had the whole Black Lives Matter basically protest where you had things getting set on fire. No, over here in the UK, that's happening as well. You having cars getting set on fire, you having buildings being burnt down, you're having acid attacks, people getting stabbed, etc., etc. And it's this is all letting people see, like, say, hey, we was what brothers was warning, and hey, things, don't be surprised if things start picking up. You should never lower your guard down just because things seem quiet, because the scripture says in 1 Thessalonians 5:3, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman, and they shall not escape. So as you know, most of the Edomites, they were just looking for a reason, because as this, they just smile in your face. But as it's not. They say, oh, it's learned. It's not something that's learned. It's just a perpetual hatred that they've had for us for generation, and it all comes from we got the blessing. And it's funny because Jake got the blessing and Jake don't appreciate it, and Esau want that blessing back, although he sold it. They say, oh, he stole his birthright. No, ultimately the Lord had it to where he sold it, because the Lord already set it up to how it was gonna happen. He sold his birthright for, as the scripture says, for one Muslim meat, he sold his birthright. But anyway, gonna get straight into this article. The Lord willing, be edifying. I'm gonna also try and find some pictures so that brothers can basically see some images as to what I'm talking about. The prison system in England is set to be thrown into a fresh crisis this week, with scores of alleged criminals to be released on bail rather than taken to taken to their court hearings, the jailing of hundreds of rioters, and if I'm not mistaken as well, a little while back, what were they saying? They were saying that these prisons are kind of getting overcrowded, and we might need to basically look somewhere overseas to put some of the criminals, or we may need to release some of the, I believe it was non-violent offenders out, because they basically didn't have enough room to house all of their criminals. I can't remember if it was all their criminals or all the potential criminals, people that were getting sentenced as well, or going to court. But continuing on, a contingency plan that prevents inmates being taken from police cells and also, you're forgetting if they said due to for example, due to the amount of room we have in these prisons, until we can come up with a proper plan, I'm afraid that we might have to be lenient. We might not be able to house criminals that create minor offenses than what we have. Because a lot of the time, what stands between people and doing certain things? The law. But if the law is like, if the law is saying, we don't know if we'll be able to house everybody, so we'll only take the serious offenders. And what's that going to turn into? That was, through gradualism, that will turn into what we know as Jacob's trouble, because it will become more and more serious to a point where they'll be like, there's too much going on for us to really handle. You might, we ain't really sure what to do, or, some to the effects of there may be so many violent crimes going on where they basically can't even handle everything. Of course, I'm speaking as a man, but we know that Jacob's trouble is going to be a time unlike ever was seen before. So if it's unlike a time ever seen before, we've seen different time periods. We've also seen news articles of certain horrific things that happen. So it's gonna far, we've seen horror. We also see horror movies. So if it's gonna far surpass anything that ever happened in history, you have to really use your imagination and like, how bad things really gonna get out here. But as you can see from here, you can see all the jigsaw pieces, because the prison issue, right, is one thing. Now you have these rioters going on. That's another thing. So now, so everybody who's on these left wing, the right wing, which is basically, we want, I'm gonna say how it is. They want all these immigrants out of their country, but they mainly want Jake out of the country, because they be saying, well, to be fair, Jake can be very wild. A lot of Jakes can be very wild, and that all boils down to what? The curses. The father being absent from the home and not checking the sons. So what the sons, the rest. But so I forgot my trail of thought. But yeah, as I was saying, so you have the prison issue. That was one thing at one point. I can't remember how long ago that was an issue. It was an issue at one point, and obviously, just because they're not mentioned it, again, it don't mean that it's not an issue anymore. So obviously, you still have to remember that. And then what do you have again? The whole riot situation. And this guy, I believe his name was Tommy Robinson. Man, that don't be man. This guy had to have been set, because he kickstarted this whole thing. And when this whole thing was heating up, this man ain't even here. So people were like saying, from basically 50 years, due to the acid attack, people getting stabbed, etc., the treatment towards Jake, it really hasn't changed. And people are really seeing that. That's why the scripture says that nakedness shall be uncovered. Yeah, that shame shall be seen. Because people can really see what's going on now. And why is that? Because you can just record something and post it on the internet. At one point, it may not have been that simple. But no, you see a video of everything because everyone's got their phones on, everybody's recording, everybody posting. Cause I remember there was a situation of what happened. I remember what happened to this Jake child. Where he got basically sent back. To put it simply, he got sent back to the spirit realm by, I believe it was an Edomite. And and basically the argument was there was no friction for him. But here it is that it was an Edomite, and it was an Edomite. Okay, so this situation after an Edomite, for example, where the females was probably an Edomite, but and then the whole of them, right? The whole of them collectively. These Edomites, I say, yo, we gotta get these Jakes out of the country. Not just the Jakes, but we gotta get most of we gotta get these immigrants just straight up out of the country. And that's showing you the perpetual hatred that Esau had for you, and he still has for you. Because I remember I was talking to people at work, and they were saying, since the 60s and the 70s, nothing has really changed. I was like, and this was an Edomite talking. I remember this was an Edomite talking. Well, she could have been a speckled bird though still, cause she did have I remember I had a couple conversations with her. She did have a little something, but I'm not 100% sure if she a speckled bird or not, but she could be. But she looked like an Edomite is what I'm saying. But anyway, the jailing of hundreds of rioters has pushed prisons towards full capacity, and full capacity is just saying that it's pushing them towards being full, forcing HM prison and probation service to prepare Operation Early Dawn. And since this is happening over here, you don't be surprised if this happens in other countries as well, these riots, because it's getting to, especially in the more recent times, it's getting to a point where things are becoming more prevalent. That prevents inmates from being taken from police cells to courts unless prison places available. Those who do go to court are given jail sentences may find themselves sent to prison hundreds of miles away from home. More than 300 people charged with offenses linked to a disorder that broke out following the Southport attack have been so far remanded in custody. And that was I believe that was that was a riot that was going on. No, there is a situation where there is a counterforce, right? But there is a counterforce, and you will have Edomites in there as well, as you will have all different types of nations. But the main point is, you already have a lot of Edomites showing you their teeth. And we ain't, although we're getting there, we ain't reached, we ain't near the climax yet. But as we say, Lord willing, the Lord speeds up the days, and we get to Jake, the Lord speeds up the days, because, man, this just makes you think, oh, we almost reached the kingdom. Like, man, I remember I be talking to brother about this all the time. Like a couple years ago, you couldn't tell people that stuff like this going on. No, stuff like this is going on, and people are like, yo, this is straight out of a movie. But anyway, back to the article. And the numbers is set to continue rising rapidly as police leaders vow to track down offenders for as long as it takes. The Observer understands the prison operation is expected to start this week, having been used for several days in March when prison capacity hit critical levels. An internal document states that prison escort staff will make assessments through each day to check how many inmates are being held by the police, how many how many inmates being held by the police can be taken to schedule court hearings, and how many will have to be released on bail and their case delayed because there is no space in jail. Officials will triage the prisoners who are kept in police custody to prioritize as many as they can for court hearings, according to the seriousness of their alleged crimes, and adjust plans according to the new capacity information. Sources say Operation Early Dawn is needed, a long-running contingency operation safeguard which sees prisoners being held in up to 200 police cells for a night before they are moved into prison custody. Well, it's being exhausted, as it says. As you can see, England police over here. Mark Fairhurst, National Chair of Prison Officers Association, said there were only 340 spaces left in adult male prisons that are able to receive rioters. Because they're saying that, as I said earlier, they're saying that anybody who helps the rioters, if you take someone to a riot, and if you're rioting, etc., if you have any type of involvement, even loosely, you will be subject to prisons, and not just once, but you could be subject to years, as one of the people said. There has been a massive rise in the week-on-week prison population. It's one of the largest one I've ever seen, he said. The Northwest and the Northeast are pinch points where the worst disorder was, so it's possible rioters will end up in the Southwest or the Southeast. The rioters shouldn't expect a prison cell on their doorstep. They'll go wherever there's a space, and if they don't like it, tough. Fairhurst warned that although Labour has announced a new early rise scheme that is expected to cause thousands of inmates to be freed, thousands, not hundreds, but thousands. So, but we just continue reading the article, and we'll see which direction the Lord takes us in, because ultimately He's in ultimately Yahweh Shem Yahushua is in full control. But as I say, brothers, don't be ignorant of any matter, both small or great. It is not coming into force until next month. The thing we're worried about is the next 3 weeks, he said. It's going to be really, really tight. These rioters have come at a bad time. The number of people brought before the courts for involvement in the riots is increasing rapidly, with a total of 677 charges and 1,117 arrests. And that's just since July the 29th. Chief Constable B.J. Harrington, the National Police Chief for Public Order, said police would continue identifying and arresting people who are involved in these riots for as long as it takes. The relentless focus on bringing people to justice won't change, he added. There is no place to hide. We are coming after these people. Harrington said that with disorder having subsided, arrests are likely to slow, but investigation would continue for many months as officers identify offenders behind anonymous social media and track mass rioters backwards through hours of security footage moments before they had covered their faces. Inevitably, the number of arrests will peter out, and some of those investigations will take longer years. Some of those will require the forensic downloads of phones and detailed evidence, and it can take time to build up a case like that. Harrington rejected claims that two-tier policing was seeing right-wing protesters disproportionately punished. We're not anti-protest, we're anti-crime. Policing will deal with the stuff where it's unlawful, where it's violent. He claims that police had been more permissive to pro-Palestine and environmental protests were wrong. Adding they weren't setting fire to hotels, they weren't lobbying bricks. That's not two-tier policing, that's dealing with threat, risk, and harm. While many defendants who have for appeared to have pled guilty and have been swiftly sentenced. More than 150 cases are set to go full Crown Court, joining immense backlogs that we're already seeing cases scheduled into 2027. Michelle Healy KC, who represents barristers practicing in the Midlands, said cases had so far had been heard at unprecedented speed. We're using protocols put in place by judges to get people from the magistrates' courts to the Crown Courts in days. There's real emphasis on swift justice that we haven't seen since the 2011 riots. But if we're getting justice, if we're getting guilty pleas and trials, it will take longer. At Ministry of Justice, spokesperson said the first job of the government is to keep people safe, and the new Lord Chancellor has taken action to make sure the justice system always able to lock up dangerous offenders, protect the public, and reduce reoffending. Operation Early Dawn is not activated, and we will notify the public if it is activated. But anyway, I'll close it off there because I got through the article, and obviously, as far as I'm aware, the riots did have cooled down a little bit, but the law could just easily, gear up again. But we'll see which direction it gets taken in. But anyway, I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to give our praise and glory to Yahweh Bashim Yahshai Bashim Rakakadash. Until next time, shalom.